As the dollar fights back, can flash PMIs revive the euro and the pound rally? Peter McGuire from XM is joining us now. Good afternoon, Peter. Thank you so much for joining ausbiz.
Well, you're very, very well, Danielle. Good to see you, and yeah, lovely to be here.
Excellent. So tell us about these PMIs that are due out on Monday for some of our major economies. What are you looking for?
Well, you've got to look at it. I keep a close eye because that's really a barometer. And we're looking at the UK, Eurozone and the States. So it's, they're major economies globally. And let's just see whether they're above 50 or below 50. And that tells us the story, contraction or expansion. And that US dollar's had a nice rally to the upside in the last, probably 36 hours or so. And but nothing dramatic, but it's still back above 100. So that may increase and you might see a 101 handle if the numbers are lower than expected for the PMIs. And we've got to keep our mind focused, of course, for Fed next week. And blast off probably another 25 basis points.
Yeah, indeed. I did see the Japanese trade figures yesterday, and they certainly weren't, let's say they weren't providing us, I suppose, with a high level of comfort that things aren't slowing down around the globe. But as you say, we'll have to wait and have a look at these PMIs. But in terms of inflation outlook, so last night that German PPI absolutely collapsed. And, we are all waiting for inflation readings. Certainly we've got one coming out here in Australia. But at the moment, the trend really looks like it is coming down in terms of global inflation. And I think we might have a chart for that one.
Yeah, I'd like to. Yeah, absolutely. There are some that are still hovering and far too high. But overall, the theme seems to be downward, and that's a good sign. Though we've had very kind energy prices really over the last, say, 6 to 8 months, Danielle. So that's been a godsend. We just don't want to see those with another $10 or $15 higher from here. But there's the first part. So the overall theme, maybe we've got one more rate rise for the States next week from the Fed, and that's it for 23. The jury's out. The numbers coming out of UK still a little bit high. But overall, I think, we're in maybe a good sign. We've just got to see global appetite pick up as far as consumption. But, that may be a lagging indicator, couldn't it?
Yeah, indeed. But also, too, we've got the other central banks meeting, don't we? What about the ECB? What's the outlook there in terms of a possible September rate hike for them?
Well, I think September's still a fair way off, so let's see what the Fed does. But I wouldn't be surprised to see the ECB knock it up another probably 25 basis points. I won't be surprised at that. So there's the first part. If we see worse numbers than expected, they might sit on their hands. We've just got to see in the sense of growth. But if the inflation comes down in July and in August with more confidence and more downward pressure, then they might sit on their hands. So, in these markets, Danielle, 6 weeks is a long time, 6 days is a long time, let alone 6 weeks.
Sometimes 6 hours is a long time, Peter.
Well, 6 minutes. I can tell the trades that have taken me backwards and in 6 minutes, trading, big positions on the old days on the yen or, futures contracts. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, dear, oh me. Anyway, let's have a look. What, sorry?
6 seconds, probably.
6 seconds, indeed. Euro and pound. Let's just check in with those currencies. There we go. So again, so much of this is data dependent, as you've just touched on, because at the moment, markets are really, they're trying to do their best in terms of discounting what they think will happen. But at the end of the day, it's very much dependent on what comes through. So again, with this chart, as you said, can they maintain their uptrend? What do you think?
Well, I'm worried about the US dollar in the sense of the uptrend. So if the US dollar's come under big pressure, nearly hit a 99.5 or close to it, now that's the US dollar index. Now it's at 100.77. Now you've got a euro sitting at 1.1139. there seems to be just choppy at the moment. It's volatile, and that's a good sign for traders. And that US dollar, it'll probably have another leg up from here with a rate rise. So maybe a 101.50 for the US dollar index. So that gives you a lot of, I suppose, volatility over that 1 week has just been quite extraordinary. So, maybe the pound sitting there at 1.2883, maybe you're going to see, a 1.27 sort of push to the downside with a stronger US dollar in the short term. But yeah, it's choppy, very hard to forecast, but certainly it's exciting 24 hours a day, 5 days a week. The fun never stops.
The fun never stops indeed. Let's just check in quickly because I'm going to have to wrap it up soon. Visa, sure. You've got a Visa chart and I'm no chartist, but that looks like it's going in the right direction, Pete.
Yeah, well, exactly. Plenty of borrowing and plenty of people using credit cards to stay alive. So that's there's the storyline there. It's been onward and upward and very strong growth. So, where's it end? With high inflation, people and minimal wage growth, people are spending more on credit cards, and that's the story of the day, isn't it?